First, I would like to start off with some facts about time. 525,600 minutes. That's how many minutes are in 1 year. 24 weeks, or 171 days, or 246,240 minutes was the time that we spent in our first semester. 3 months, 22 days, or 165,600 minutes is how long I've had my mentor. In 3 months, 28 days, 168,480 minutes is how much time we have left in ISM. So in 246,240 minutes, we did 6 research assessments, 5 interviews, 5 interview assessments, 13 weekly updates, 1 winter showcase, and 1 mentor. In this time, I've learned about guidance counseling. I've learned all the specs about it, what it takes to become a good guidance counselor, your background knowledge you have to have, education, pretty much all the foundations that take what it takes to be a guidance counselor. In my 5 interviews, I've learned that there are some really good counselors in Frisco. And I've also learned that there's some really bad counselors in Frisco. 13 weekly updates. Over the past 13 weeks, we had weekly updates. I updated Mr. Purtle on all the things that I've done. Some of my weekly updates said I did absolutely nothing this week, while others had days filled paragraphs long of all the stuff I've been doing. 1 winter showcase. At the winter showcase, that was my first time I got to display to my parents and to my friends what I've actually been spending my time doing in ISM. For the longest time, my mom didn't really know what guidance counseling was. Even though she works in a school, she didn't really understand why I wanted to do it. So that was her way of actually seeing, well, ISM is something that takes a lot of work and is something that my child is really passionate about. And then 1 mentor. I found a mentor who believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. I found a mentor who dedicated half of her week into me instead of her children, or testing, coordinating, anything that she had to do, she spent that time on me. So for the research assessments, like I said, I found the basics of guidance counseling, job outlooks, areas to make a difference, all the basics. Counseling has its ups and downs. My mentor told me, you get to be there for a child who may not have anybody else. You get to make a difference, and you get to touch the lives of many, even if you don't quite know it yet. But you can't fix everything. You're not a psychologist. You're not allowed to meet with a child every week. You have to refer that out. And some things are just out of your control. I got to meet a student who her parents called the police to her elementary school, called the police on each other, and she didn't have anywhere to go home to that night. And while I wanted to take her home with me, you just can't fix everything. So 165,600 minutes. I went on 10 mentor visits. I sat in on 7 lessons, wrote 1 lesson plan, taught 125 kindergartners, 2 small groups, 1 mentor, and 1 very nervous teenage girl. Now, there's nothing that makes me more nervous than teaching 125 kindergartners. You look at them and they're the cutest children you've ever seen. You put 40 of them in the room together and you feel like you're on the Titanic and you are sinking and nobody can throw you a life vest. That's how I felt when I taught for my first time. These kindergartners, they didn't know who I was. I didn't know who they were. I called them hey you or it because I didn't know what their names were. But at the end, the teachers believed in me and they said, you know, you really did a good job. Now, I stumbled over my words. I read words wrong in my books. I laughed at inappropriate jokes that they didn't quite get yet. I was the total teenage girl. But it was okay because I learned from my experiences and I found that I really enjoy teaching and it's something that I want to continue doing. 2 small groups. Over the past 6 weeks, I've had 2 divorced small groups, a 2nd and 3rd grade group, and a 4th and 5th grade group. And they really taught me about what it's like to be an elementary school student who have divorced parents. My parents got divorced when I was in 5th grade, and it was probably one of the worst experiences you can ever go to. But looking back at the students who were in the same situation I was in, it made me realize that, you know, there is hope for them. And where I was when I was in 5th grade isn't the same person I am in 12th grade. and one very nervous teenage girl. I would like to tell you that I have completely mastered the art of teaching and the art of guidance counseling, but the truth is every time I walk into a different classroom, I'm still as nervous as I was when I taught 125 kindergartners. But what I learned from them is manners can be fun. They have the shortest attention span I've ever seen. And sometimes you need someone to believe in you, even if they're 5 years old. 2 small groups. I said this already, they just want everybody to be happy. There's someone you can look up to, and that really reinforced that you can't fix everything. 45 minutes. In 45 minutes, that's how much time we have on final presentation night. That's how much time we have to present everything we've been doing over the year. And I plan on doing one comprehensive guidance program. A comprehensive guidance program is pretty much when you start off the school from scratch and you lay out everything you're going to do. So I took the demographics of Heritage and the demographics of Bledsoe, and I compiled it all into graphs, charts, made diagrams of the students who are at risk, the students who go to our school that you may not know are on free and reduced lunch, the students who have suicidal thoughts. I took all of them and I'm coming up with a way of how I want to target those students, a way that I want to develop so I can reach every student and know their needs, their issues, their names. And it's going to be hard, I understand that, but at the same time, this will help me so if I go to another school or when I start my own field in guidance counseling, I'll have something to work on, something I can look back and what I actually want to do. 168,480 minutes. That's how much time we have left in this first semester. Now it's kind of off because I made this PowerPoint 2 weeks ago when I originally planned to do my presentation, but now it's scary to think that we have even less time than that. And I'm about to take 15 minutes of your time giving this presentation. And over these minutes, I'm going to do 9 lessons. I have the opportunity to take over my mentor's guidance program for the spring semester. She's going to focus on STAR counts or STAR testing for 4th, 5th, and 3rd grade. And I'm going to start doing guidance counseling with kindergarten 1st and 2nd. We have 1 final showcase, 2 more small groups that I hope to get planned and started if she'll let me. Don't know if it's possible, but it's something that I'm definitely working on. And then 1 ponytail queen. The story of the ponytail queen is when I was in 5th grade, teaching kindergarten, I had to think of ways to keep their entertainment. And I found 1 little black girl who looked exactly like me when I was in kindergarten, and she had 1 long ponytail coming out the center of her head. And that's exactly how my mom styled my hair every morning before I went to school. So sitting at a table that's only about 3 feet off the ground with my knees curled up to my chin, I told them the story of my kindergarten experience. Now, believe it or not, I was the bully in kindergarten. I thought I was the best, but I was. And coming back from that, I realized that, I probably shouldn't have been as mean. I threw blocks at kids. I hit them with wooden hammers. And it's mainly because I wanted to have all the attention. I was the baby of the family. I was spoiled. I got everything I wanted. So coming into kindergarten, I didn't understand the word sharing. I didn't understand that one teacher had to devote her time to 25 different kindergartners. All that mattered to me is that I was the best. So I told them that I was the ponytail princess, and nobody else could have a ponytail quite like mine, because I was simply the best. And they believed me, and it also got back to my mentor that I told them lies about my kindergartner experience. But taking away from that, I realized it's okay to lie to kindergartners, because, and I'll tell you why. I have my evidence on why it's okay to lie to kindergartners. Because a year later, somebody else is going to lie to them as well, and they're going to get over it. That's just how kindergartners work. So every time I go and see them, they call me the ponytail queen. Now I smile and I laugh, and my mentor just winks at me. But the one thing, even if you lie to kindergartners, you have to make sure that it's a good lie. You don't want to tell them a stupid, silly little white lie. You have to make it the biggest and the best lie that you can ever have. Something to be remembered by. So now when I walk down the halls, instead of calling me Miss Gamble, they just refer to me as the ponytail queen. America's future will be determined by the home and the school. The child becomes largely what he is taught. Hence, we must watch how we teach and how we live. So while being a part of a teacher and you want to enforce the rules and everything, you have to watch what you teach. But at the same time, you have to watch how you live as well. So I told them that I'm the ponytail queen, and I'm going to make sure that I live my life as a queen. Thank you.